I haven't brushed my hair in a while, but then I tied it up and it looked weird tied up. Oh, let's be honest, it looks weird down. But I also don't like the bare face. The bare face. I don't like the bare face. I forgot the microphone. Okay, I guess a bit of a intro. I am a 27-year-old AFAB person that is currently being diagnosed with autism, and the umbrella of autism explains a lot of the physical health issues that I've had, and in hindsight I'm very surprised that people didn't realise what it was when all these different things were happening at the same time. But I think because they were all separate specialists, along with the lack of research in AFAB autistic people, sort of all amounted to a list of different diagnoses, none of them fully explaining what was going on, and me feeling sort of, I use the term medically gaslit, but I know that that's quite a strong term. But a lot of the experiences that I've had in hospitals have been traumatising, and a lot of this has left me really traumatised and confused. I understand that these systems are there to help people, and obviously I guess they try. It's not to say I fucking hate doctors or whatever, because they do good shit, but I just find it very hard to trust medical professionals in general. We'll get to that. We'll do that. If we do it all in chronicle, just going to read it off the page because I keep getting stuffed up. I often sit here trying to work out how to detail the medical history that I've had. There's plenty of paperwork and results to indicate my past, yet I can't seem to properly feel like it was real and like it actually happened. My pain is there near constantly, yet so is a guilt for manipulating people for attention. My integrity has constantly been questioned, which has completely destroyed my self-confidence. I was trying to think if I could recall a time where I didn't feel like when I presented with different medical issues where I wasn't doubted, but I can't. Even as a very small child with regular hospital trips, I was still doubted by people who weren't in the medical field, but for some reason were listened to above medical professionals. I'm getting off track again, and okay, deep Jeffs. While I had many by my side, encouraging and helping me through, there were also a few that seemingly couldn't accept the truth of my health. I find myself constantly trying to untangle the mess that this has created in my brain. They thought I was lying, so I did too. A 5-year-old doesn't really know how to not listen to that. I started to doubt my doctors. When people said everything was for attention, I stopped mentioning a lot of the symptoms that I was going through to my specialists at appointments. I was incontinent for a long time. Bedwetting gang, rise up. And I used to hide any evidence of any wetness around the house. In the act of hiding these sheets, it didn't counteract the feeling that I was somehow making this all up. I'd get caught out without any period supplies for my hemorrhaging because in between heavy constant bleeds, I would think that I had made it up, and so I wouldn't need sanitary items, and obviously I really did need them because I was bleeding through a lot. This is beside the point. The point is that I felt constantly guilty and like I was a liar, being both an inpatient and an outpatient at different times of many different hospitals throughout my life, and having a wide range of medical professional endocrinology we've got. You don't need to know any of that. The point is, I ended up feeling like I was a bad person, and I thought that I was lying about everything, and it's made being chronically ill a billion times harder. I know it's so hard to defend yourself when you're in a state of such suffering, but try to hang in there and hopefully you'll find a support group that can really be lent on in those times, because it's a bit fucked. I want to talk about the idea that people fake their disabilities and illnesses. I did it again. Every time I look, I forget. Okay, back to straight off the paper. A lot of it's messed with my general notion of reality and my trust in my own experiences. I'm going to say that no one would pretend to be disabled or chronically ill for some sort of sympathy from Instagram or whatever. One, it wouldn't be worth it, but also the amount that goes into even being able to say that you are unwell or to say that something's probably permanent, it's really hard. A sick or disabled person should not need to prove their illness to you for it to be real. Someone in constant pain does not have to prove themselves. Being chronically unwell usually comes hand in hand with a lifetime of constant specialist appointments, tests, checkups, medications, and that's at the very least. This by itself is tiring for anyone, but then add that feeling of doubt that they can create. It becomes really easy to spiral into quite a dark place. I was so little and taught to doubt my own experiences from such a young age. Every traumatic thing that I went through became something that I was imagining. Every bad feeling was a punishment for lying. I started to feel like every pain I deserved. I started to feel more and more misunderstood and less inclined to find that understanding because I deserve to be misunderstood. Throughout these years, I've been dubbed by most doctors that I've seen as a difficult patient, which has only made the feeling that I'm, a bad patient. Despite this label arising from my refusal of medication that had actually stopped my short-term memory almost completely, and my repetitive requests for a surgery for a pain that I knew that was different, they found a cyst that was wrapping around a whole bunch of stuff. My realisation that it was a different sort of pain and insistence that I needed the surgery to check it out is what led them to get the cyst out in time before it actually killed part of the organs that the tail was wrapped around. So I was right. Yet my label was still reinforced. I think it's pretty obvious to say that I don't like the doctors. I don't think anyone likes the doctors or the hospital. But I really don't like the doctors or the hospital. I hate white light and I hate weird sounds and I hate smell of strong cleaner and illness smells and people and voices. I hate it all. I feel like this is pretty standard for literally anyone. Like, obviously, if someone's going to put themselves through sitting in a sensory nightmare for however many hours you have to sit in emergency, if you think someone will put themselves through that for fuck all, is what I'm trying to say. If you think someone would do that over nothing, you're wrong. But I need not defend my illness. Even half of what I've written here is just defending my experiences. Anyway, I appreciate every doctor and medical professional and specialist and surgeon that has helped me over the years. All of the mental health experts and psychologists and psychiatrists and everyone that was involved. I understand that they were just trying to solve the quote-unquote mystery of what my body was doing. But because I was having that ongoing issue with what we know now is CPTSD and autism, but at the time they thought was severe anxiety, bipolar, borderline, depression, generalised anxiety. I think there's a list of about 8 or 9 different diagnoses that got put on a list before autism was even looked at. And I've suggested autism, and now I'm pretty much just like, I'm leading the autism charge, because most of my doctors seem too scared to delve into something that they didn't know that much about, and AFAB autism was definitely one of them. But it's sort of been a learning process for a lot of us, and meeting people that are experts in autistic women has helped, because a lot of my symptoms were textbook, well, not even the symptoms, but a lot of my behaviours and the issues that were believed to be a mental illness in response to my hormones were a mix of an emotional response to hormones, but also severe sensory difficulties and social issues, which all came about through growing up with autism and constantly trying to mask to fit in. Fast forward to now, it was settled upon that this is an incurable thing and that my function abilities are lessened, and that I need specialised help. To try to stay hyper... Oh, that's this bit again. So it was settled upon that this isn't so much a curable thing, and that specialised help would be needed. I generally try to stay hyper aware of my biases, yet still when faced with the idea of needing this specialised help, my internalised ableism has made it harder to accept these facts. After seeing specialist after specialist and trying medication and treatment after medication and treatment, a psychiatrist suggested that an application to the NDIS may assist me in being able to live a fuller life given my hypersensitivities. This whole process so far with the NDIS has taken over 2 years, to the point it's escalated to the court system while they granted to cover legal aid for my side, so it's essentially them paying to fight them rather than just providing the support. The main contention in my case is permanency. They set me up with an independent psychiatrist to assess this, and in that appointment she said that this is kind of awkward, but that she doesn't know why she was asked to assess permanency because it's quite clearly permanent. CPTSD is permanent, and autism and all my physical health issues are quite proven and permanent. This independent psychiatrist was absolutely fantastic. She supported me throughout the whole appointment, and she sort of like was listing things that she thought would benefit me with the NDIS. Her opinion was pretty clear-cut. She had strong support for my case. So now I'm just waiting to hear if their legal team want to settle, I guess. And to everyone else involved, this was just a case at work and like a bit of paperwork to be read and highlighted for the keywords in it, and to be contended and discussed with a bunch of strangers. Strangers whose job it was to find loopholes in the wording and tear my history apart so that they can decline the application. The whole thing has been, at best, a battle. I feel like, again, now at 27, I'm being inadvertently accused of being a liar about my physical and mental functioning, while it's being supported by the specialists in the field. To be sent back to doctor after doctor and different ones and have to repeat my story to each new doctor to get more second opinions and letters re-traumatise a lot of what I worked so long on healing. I've struggled with guilt my whole life, and there's a little... I've suffered with guilt a lot, so eventually coming to realise that a child wouldn't know about the things that I was accused of lying of in the first place, and that frequent hospital stays and surgeries and infections aren't something a kid can create. I spent a lot of time with those thoughts trying to really settle it in my mind that it's not my fault and I wasn't somehow magicking up illness. But through healing this little child part of me, I have had to not only sit and really express my authenticity, even just to an empty room by myself. It's taken a lot of that and a lot of talking to her and telling her that I believe her to get to the place I was even 2 years ago. Now this NDIS struggle feels like it's undone a lot of that healing, and I feel like, not that I've regressed, because I think I'm much more in tune with who I am and the sensitivities that I need to be aware of over this journey. But at the same time, it's like the more I take my needs into account, the more I think I'm overreacting and making those needs up, which makes it harder to take those into account. And it's not like I can stop taking those into account, because it ends in complete meltdown if I don't. So I just do it and then feel guilty. Just people should believe people. It's sad to think that out of all of it, the bit that really hurt me the most was questioning my integrity as a person in pain. And I think that happens to a lot of people, especially a lot of women. Research into women's health has been shithouse. Endometriosis is ridiculously common and hardly researched compared to getting a boner. Beside the point, I want to stress that while pushing for people to ask for help is a really, really good thing, and you should keep encouraging people you know that are struggling to ask for help, I also wanted to talk about this to bring to light how hard it is to actually get help. I'm in Australia, so we have a pretty good mental health system. And I have never felt as alone as I felt when I called Lifeline and couldn't get through because their staff were too busy. I have never felt pain like asking for help and then being told from a government body that has no medical or psychiatry knowledge that I'm a liar. Some of this has really shaken, I think, even who I am, and it's made it very hard. And all my trust issues with quote-unquote professionals are back, though I'm very thankful for the few that really are in my corner and really are supporting me through this. This is essentially just a video explaining this stuff because I am refusing to let myself stay so confused and stay so doubtful. I just want to be myself. That's like the one thing I haven't tried. So it feels like that's probably a good thing. I guess at the end of this, I am vocalizing my experience because I can. And I can't imagine the amount of people that can't vocalize their experience and can't verbally defend themselves and don't have such staunch people in their corner protecting and defending them. Because there are many like that are left behind. And it's a system that not only leaves them out, but really makes you feel not worthwhile as a person, which, you know, stems from an ableist society that we're in, which is where all my views on invisible disabilities and stuff made it so hard to sort of come to terms. Like, I don't know, I held on to sick and strayed from disabled for a long, long time. And now I'm a person with a disability, and that's chill. And I just need extra help. That's it. I just need a little bit of extra help to be able to live the way anyone else would. I like being neurodivergent. I don't like how much pain my body's in from my physical illnesses, but the neurodivergence and a lot of the parts that have led me to struggle socially are the parts that have let me cope. And I feel like I wouldn't be me if I didn't have this plethora of things, and I am now quite fond of me. So that's a vibe. Anyway, I think that's it. I was going to go into like specific signs of neurodivergence in young girls, but I feel like this has gone on for a very long time already. Yeah. Okay, cool, bye.